21321. All right, I'm gonna do my little stupid radio intro. Hey, what's up, everybody? You're watching the 757 Hustle Show. My name is George. I am very excited to have here today from one of my new favorite YouTube channels going on with our Masters of the Universe segment we're doing here. I am proud to have Colt Crane from YouTube channel Dat At Arms. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for this. My man has been so patient with me. I've had so many difficulties here with the Wi-Fi. You know, I had to get the rabbit ears and tinfoil for the, HD and all that other good stuff. But Colt, thank you for being here and thank you for being patient. And we all know why you're here, because you're a huge Masters of the Universe fan.
Thank you for having me.
And I've been saying I dig your channel. I've seen a lot of the stuff you've done. And how would you describe to people what your channel is about?
So basically what I do is, it's just an interview channel. I was curious about things that happen within Masters of the Universe, coming from the creators and from other fans and what they do. And so I just started reaching out to people and asking them questions. And that's basically about it. It's a way to talk to creators and people who have worked on the brand in the past and people who are currently working on the brand.
So so that's pretty cool. So who have you spoken to? Like, who have you talked to so far?
Recently I've talked, these are interviews that I'm still in the process of editing, but I've talked with Yuka, who is out of Finland. And
yeah. He's my man. I was thinking about reaching out to him to do a little chat with him also.
Yeah, he's fantastic. These people know so much about
everything. I always see people post, he's like the Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Google.
He's like a living encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I talked with a guy by the name of Adam McCombs. He runs the Battle Ram blog, which has been around for about 6 years, I think, and it's another fantastic reference point for anything you'd want to know about Masters of the Universe. You can go to that, and he has everything archived, and his research is impeccable.
The halls of wisdom.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a scholar of Eternia, to put it bluntly. I talked with go ahead.
No, go ahead, my man. Go ahead. No, I want to know. Let people know who you've chatted with already and who you.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit about it earlier, but I talked with the actress who played Teela in the short film that she submitted as an audition to be considered for the role of Teela in the upcoming live action Masters of the Universe movie.
Yes, and for those who don't know what we're talking about, I don't know how you missed it if you're not a He-Man fan, but I think it's called Teela and the Masters of the Universe.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And there's actually a lot of weird confusion around all that, because people seem to get really upset about the mention of Teela being part of Masters of the Universe. I think it all started with the Revelation controversy that people had a weird problem with.
Yeah. In short, to me, to each their own, which is cool. But you know what, man? Don't bring it over here.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You let others do them.
Exactly. And like we were messing. We're joking on Facebook today, and it's like, that's fine. Do your thing. If you hate it, you don't like it, whatever. That website, the Facebook page, won't let me post talking about her hair. Because Teela's that haircut, they were saying it's an agenda. And I'm like, you can literally look up. That was the most popular. And this is what I try to type responding to you today, but the page won't let me. I said, that is not an agenda, the haircut. That it was the most popular short hair woman's female haircut that year. And Kevin Smith on his podcast even said he based it off of the actress from Supergirl.
Absolutely. And even further, going with why you couldn't you couldn't use that word to respond in a comment. From the moderator side of things, I also volunteer my time to moderate some of those Facebook pages. But it got so bad that we had to put in those trigger words.
It's crazy. Yeah,
I got so tired of having to delete comments because people were throwing a fit about Teela's haircut.
It was crazy. It was, yeah. And like I said, it's like, that's fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't like the direction the story went. Look, Marvel, DC. We grew up with DC. We're about the same age, right? We grew up with DC movies. Superman was campy, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
It was campy. That was the original MCU. I'm happy to see a little dark, a little more adult story. You know what I'm saying? It means the stuff we grew up with kind of grew up with us also.
Yeah, we're adult fans now, right?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. And it's not the end of it. I can't stand it. Ruined my childhood. No one went into the past and stole your He-Man toys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nobody went to the past and made that cartoon better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, no, those cartoons still exist. You can watch them.
Yeah.
I mean,
on my phone.
I have them in my collection. I can watch them wherever I want. What Revelation did was it progressed the storyline that had already been set up in those old cartoons. The story that we've all, as fans, I thought, as a fan, this is what I'm excited to see. And so I was really taken aback that people were really mad about these things, that they would focus on Tila when her story is one of the most important stories in Massive Universe lore.
Yeah. And to say all the stuff that was said, to say all the stuff that was said, and I'm just like, man, it's just a story. It's a story. You know what I'm saying? He lied. It's just a story.
The story. They tried to do something. They tried to, keep their cards close to their chest. You're not going to come out the gate and say, hey, this is the story we're making. And guess what? He-Man dies in episode 1. Why would you? I mean, that's the big emotional hook of the show.
And honestly, I don't want to see episode per episode. Where did Adam go? Come on, we've been there already. That's done already. You know what I'm saying?
Move on because what it does is you move beyond the secret identity, and then you get to tell more interesting stories. You get to explore. Okay, let's see Adam not pretending to be lazy, not pretending to be cowardly. Let's see him as himself, as the hero he is. But further, let's see his relationship with Tila, advance.
Yes.
100%. What happens now that the secret's gone now? So now it opens up the door for these better, in my opinion, stories.
And I agree. I agree with you 100%. And I can also say, is it the best ever? No. I can pick out a lot of choices where I'm like, man, why did he do that? Why didn't he go into this instead? You know what I'm saying? Or expand on that, whatever. I can understand whatever, but that didn't deter me to say, oh, it's a dumpster. What's the common words everybody are saying? It's a dumpster fire and blah, 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 blah. You're a shit. I'm like, dude, I liked it. I actually liked Ant-Man. I don't know. I hated Ant-Man 2. I liked the new Ant-Man movie, and people are like, are you crazy? I'm like, I guess I am. I mean, I don't know. I liked it,
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, we know what we like, right? Like, I know what I'm about. If I want to enjoy something, if I see something I like, I'll talk about it. If I don't like it, I'm not going to talk about it.
100%.
But I'm not going to seek out other people that enjoy what I don't like. I'm not going to antagonize them. Like, that's childish.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, do you hate this? Yeah, cool. I hate it too. Let's hate it together. Yeah.
Like, sure.
I posted something, and then I think I've spoken to you about this, we're doing them with the audio drama, which is really cool about He-Man fans. Real quick, we're doing an audio drama, a fan fiction. It's a mashup between Masters of the Universe meets Aliens. I reached out to a bunch of people around the world. I mean, the guy that plays Skeletor is from India.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I got characters. I got Rob from Masters of the Mini Comics.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Who does amazing stuff. And then especially if you're a huge 80s filmation, he's like 100% on it with the sound effects. I mean, you literally close your eyes, you think you're watching a cartoon because the music and everything is exactly the same the way it would. We're working all this stuff together, and then it's just like, on my part, I'm trying to create this story, and I'm all like, everybody's like, well, is it 80s? Is this? I said, you know what? It's a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of everything. That's all. I'm not, it could be whatever it wants. And if you close your eyes, it could be your Filmation one. To me personally, I always say this: Filmation has the heart. To me, Filmation has the heart. Was it 2000X? That one, 200X or whatever. That one to me is perfection.
Good. It's pretty good.
You know what I'm saying? To me, the first one will always have the heart. It's the heart. But if you go back and watch it, you're like, yeah, it's a kid's cartoon. So that way, to me, the second one, it was a little more adult. And then I love how they expanded on the lore and everything like that. What do you say? What would be one of your fondest memories growing up, like Masses, Motu memory or something.
Yeah. So my earliest memories with Masters of the Universe are actually it comes before the Filmation cartoon. It's the Golden Books storybook.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I used to there's a local craft store that my mom always used to go to called the Book Plaza in the town that I live in, and I would go with her as a kid, and they had a small book section, and I'd always get to pick out a new He-Man book, and it was always those those Golden Books
Mm-hmm.
storybooks.
Little square top.
Yeah, yellow, wonderful cover art. But beyond that, they also released a VHS tape that had the first four stories with very minimal animation
With
and
yeah.
narration and voices. And I mean, it looks bad by today's standards, but I still watch those and hear those, and it just makes me smile. And I specifically remember watching it on my TV, and when the credits would roll, I remember holding my He-Man action figure against the TV screen
Hmm.
because the movement of the words made it look like he was falling into a pit, like he'd fallen through a trap door or
Oh
something.
yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's just one of those memories that I have. I
Very
remember
cool.
just being a kid and enjoying that stuff. So that's probably my earliest memory with the brand.
I see. I have. Uh, I stopped collecting. I was into everything. I mean, I was like into like everything that was on the '80s. So it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I never had everything. And then my parents, they were like, they got me He-Man. I still have my two originals. They're busted up, and thanks to YouTube, I
Yeah,
will fix them. I'm like, oh, you can fix them, you know.
yeah,
So and they will always get me the other characters, not from He-Man, like the Warlord or Remco,
sure, sure,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My mom would be like, oh,
The
yeah, yeah.
bootlegs, the
Oh,
knockoffs.
he no have clothes. He look like He-Man. Okay, here you go. Merry Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I got like, who the hell is this guy? He's I wanted like Fisto. Who's this guy? But so I stopped collecting, and then I stopped for a while. And then I remember seeing all the He-Man stuff when Toys R Us was still around. I don't know what, I guess they were classic. I don't know what were sold those times. They look like,
I if I remember correctly, I think it was right towards the end of the Classics run, and they started bringing in because Classics was internet only through
okay,
dot
but they look like
com.
the original ones. They look like they were remakes of the
Yeah,
original.
so I think they would have been the commemorative pieces that came out right around the time the 2000 series
And I was
was
collecting those.
on
And
air.
I
Yeah,
was collecting those because I was like, oh, these are really cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I said to myself, no one, look how cool these new ones are. No one's going to give a
yeah,
crap about these old ones. And back then, you can find them anywhere.
yeah. They're all over the place.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, so I was into the new ones. And then time goes by, Revelation came out. You know what I'm saying? At the time, my wife, she knew I had stuff. She knew I was into toys and all that stuff and everything. But I never kept it out because we moved. I still had it all packed up in storage. Finally, I started taking it out. So it's like it took a real physical break. Now my wife knows what a Detolf is. Now my wife knows what dioramas are. I got my parents to make during the pandemic. My dad just turned 83 yesterday. So during the pandemic, they were stuck at home. They needed something to do. And my mom used to make them for me when I was a kid. So she started making dioramas out of foam, styrofoam, my dad, both of them together, and they make them, they carve them and stuff like that and everything. So that,
Awesome.
yeah. So then I started meeting a lot of toy photographers. That's when I was like, oh, I didn't even realize there's a whole world of toy photography out there and so many guys out there, So I started speaking to them and doing things like that. But when these Revelation figures came out, yeah, I missed the boat. Whatever you guys say, classics is the best. Whatever makes you happy makes you happy. Don't
Sure.
don't poop on me when I'm like, oh my god, look how cool this He-Man figure is, and everybody's like,
Exactly.
that face is stupid. That face is
Oh,
stupid.
that's the worst He-Man figure I've ever seen.
That's the worst
Classics are the
He-Man
better.
figure. Then you know what? Look away, buddy.
Yeah, don't go play with your classics.
I love it. I know. They're so. I guess they're so pissed because they're buying them for $300-400 a pop, and now I'm walking around going, "Look at the new shiny toy." You know what I'm saying? And you're like, man, you paid $20 for that, and they're Ollie's now, and I paid like six hundred
For
dollars
sure.
for many
No,
faces.
so I was, I've kind of been collecting, throughout the years as long as I can remember. When the classics line came out, I was newly married. I was in college. I was a broke college kid,
Yeah.
and so I couldn't. I bought a few of the classics figures. I have them on the shelf behind me here, the ones that I do have, but it wasn't every figure. It was
Mm.
the characters I liked the most, which were mainly He-Man, Tila, and Skeletor.
Those are your top three.
That's Yeah, those are my top three. And so I buy them, with what I could afford. It was always a conversation with my wife about, is this something I can do this month or should we not worry about it? But now we're in this age where we've got three He-Man toy lines on shelves right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why would I shit all over people who are enjoying that? They're easy to get, they're inexpensive, they're affordable. Why are we complaining?
It's ridiculous. And
You know
now,
what I mean? Like,
you know what?
yeah.
To step that complaint up one more, that Nick
Okay.
is okay. They released those bears that look like Skeletor and He-Man.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Everybody's like, that's garbage. I wouldn't buy that. I want it, bro. Super 7, the little ones. That's garbage. I wouldn't buy that. Bro, they're not for you. They're to attract those people.
Exactly. Then don't buy them. If you don't like them, don't buy them.
Yeah.
And if people buy them, keep your mouth shut. You don't need to tell them that
and
they look bad.
And they're also meant to attract those people to bring them into the Motu universe, man. What do you want to bring in more fans?
Yeah. And the more fans we have, the more things sell, the better off the brand is for future things, for future projects, for future animation, future toys. And that goes back to my problem with people who got so mad about Revelations. Like, I get if you don't like it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Why would you not want it to do well? Because if it does well, that means that the brand is viable and that it will continue to evolve and it will continue to get new content based on He-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand that hard line that people take. And I feel like it's all politically motivated. People are constantly complaining about agendas and social, stuff going on. It's like, I just want to watch my cartoon about the muscle man punching the skeleton man.
Thank you. That's all it is.
Can I do that? And if there's a hot red-haired warrior woman on screen, sure, I'm in.
How do you feel about the movie when it came out back then?
I was young. I remember seeing it in the drive-in theater, and I remember being scared because Beastman was terrifying. Karg was scary to me. I don't really remember having the awareness that, oh, this doesn't look like the He-Man I know. Like, I was young, so to my young mind, I was like, yeah, that's He-Man on screen, that's Skeletor on screen. It's a little bit scary,
Mm-hmm.
So I have affection for it because A, it's more He-Man, and B, it's on the screen.
Yeah.
It's there in front of me and I can watch it. Yeah, it's cheesy by today's standards, and going back and looking at it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty silly. And I wish they could have done more with it.
Yeah. I revisit it once in a while. I go back and I revisit it, and then I just found myself, I gotta fast forward. I don't want to ruin it. You know what I'm saying? With the parts I don't like.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want the nostalgia lens to break.
Yeah. But I remember when that movie came out, and this is I love telling the story, especially with my cousin. We went to go see it. I don't know. We must have been, I think, 11 or 12, whatever we were. It was all my friends. We all were He-Man fans. Yeah, He-Man the movie. We went to go see it, local theater. I had left my sunglasses in the theater. So I go back inside, and I'm in a row, and I'm looking for the sunglasses. All of a sudden, I'll be back.
Wow. You saw the end credits scene.
Bro, I was the only one in the theater. Look, till today, you can see my hairy ass arms. Dat At Arms mean hair at arms. I'm telling you. Till today, I get those goosebumps. I'm gonna curse right now. I got so fucking scared, and I'll tell that to a He-Man fan. I told it to him because ran the fuck out of there because it just was unexpected, and the whole screen was the whole scene. I went out. I told my cousins. They didn't believe me. Then, yeah, right, bullshit, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, forget about you. You're such a liar. I'm like, no, you just came out, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's Arnold's line. I'm like, no. I remember my other cousin going, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's line. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you. It wasn't until, I remember back then when the movie came out on video cassette, it was like almost 6 months to a year.
It was a while.
Yeah, it was like a while, right? It was a long time, right?
Yeah.
That son of a bitch came out. We rented it. I ran straight home, fast forward straight to the end, and I was
Straight
like,
to
I
the end.
told you. I was like one of my first before Google moments, and I was like, I told you. For years, nobody believed me, man. I was like,
Oh, that is fantastic.
that's my biggest memory of that movie. I was so excited to go see it and everything. My other, I'll share this real quick. My other huge favorite, and I found the video on YouTube. God bless. Is favorite memories. My mom took me and my friends and my sister and her friends into the city. Mind you, this is before the internet. And I asked my mom, how do you find all these things? She goes, in the newspaper. I look around in the newspaper to see where to take you kids. You know, I didn't think about this, you know what I'm saying? So she took us to the Mattel demonstration where they show the new figures coming out.
Yeah.
So we went to that. I don't know if you've ever seen that video that's going around on it's on YouTube where they show, you know, the masters of the universe and they present all the new and then the horde. So that Mattel had the Motu one and they had the Barbie.
Okay.
I remember it was Barbie and the Rockers. That's what I remember because I'm a rock and roll guy. So I always remember like, oh, Barbie and the Rockers. I mean, you know, that's cool. So that's one of my fondest memories. What do you think? What do you want? I guess a He-Man movie, right? Live
Yeah.
action.
Yeah. I'd love to see live action.
What would you love to see in a live action movie? Like, what are some
Um,
things you would love to see in a live action
I
He-Man
think,
film?
I want to see them really embrace a little bit of the kind of the campiness of what the brand is, because I think that's inherent in what Masters of the Universe is, but not lean too far into it to where it's goofy and silly
Yes.
and kind of borderline disrespectful to what's going on. Like have a little bit of camp, but also like just embrace the sci-fi fantasy of it all. Don't be afraid to. I mean, that's why we love it in the first place, is because of the world of Eternia is so imaginative, right?
Yeah. It's like,
Um,
yeah, it's like, oh, we need an octopus man. Oh, there he is.
yeah, yeah,
You
there he
know,
is. Yeah,
and
like
his
don't.
whole city, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like don't like. I mean, don't shy away from those elements because that's what people love about the brand. In terms of a story, I'm not necessarily too concerned. I know the origins of He-Man. I've seen the
Yeah.
origins of He-Man, just like we've seen the origins of Superman. We've seen the origins of
Yeah.
Batman. I'm not too
Uncle
keen on origin
Uncle Ben is
stories.
gonna die again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've seen it all. So I'd like it to kind of pick up mid-career for He-Man, when
Yeah.
he's been He-Man for a while. Because we all know who he is. We know what he's about.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated,
It's like, don't
but
waste our time. It's like, oh,
yeah, let's get into it.
you know what I say?
But
Just
but if done right, origin stories can be fun. Like my favorite Batman movie is Batman Begins. I think that
oh,
nailed
number one.
Batman
That's one of my
perfectly.
top
I
five
love it.
superhero comic book movies. Is
Fantastic.
same here. One
Yeah.
of my top five.
Um, so it can be done. I think I want to see a good villain. I want him to be scary.
Mm,
I want He-Man to be heroic. And I'm super cheesy, and I talk about this a lot on my channel, but I love the romance of He-Man and Teela, and I want
yeah.
to see that explored. I want to see it in live action. I want to see it in the cartoons. We didn't get that as kids because we were
Yeah.
kids, and girls are
Yeah.
icky, when you're 5 years old.
But
But
meanwhile, the same company before when they did Flash Gordon, it's like, oh,
boom,
Flash. You know what I'm saying? In
exactly,
the 70s, it was the same Tila cell. Go back.
exactly.
You go back and you look
Yep.
at whatever her name was in Flash Gordon, and it's like, next time I'm Flash Gordon, child payments. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very excited. Me personally, why don't they just remake the first three episodes of the 2000X cartoon?
Sure. I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
that's a great intro
That's a
point.
good plan. Introduce everybody, show what it's about, and that's it. And then you just branch off of that. I mean, I don't know, but I know. I just hope they don't ruin it. So we've already
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
we've already had a He-Man movie that was kind of like, they tried. They
Right.
tried this stuff. I want to touch on real quick the He-Man, the Adam Tila thing. Okay. In my world, I'm writing the Motu Aliens thing.
Mhm.
And one of my main things is I am pushing the whole. I was explaining to my Tila, my actress. I was explaining to her. I was like, Tila loves Adam, but she cannot commit to him because this guy is like a slacker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
It's it's one of those things where she sees his potential and he's
Yes,
obviously not living up to his potential and she's trying to push him towards that. I
Yeah.
mean, she's a woman who is highly decorated as a soldier. She's the captain of the guard. She's
Hmm.
very motivated. She's very determined. She wants an equal in a potential mate, right? And a
Yeah.
potential partner
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
in life.
Yep.
If she loves somebody, she wants them to be on her level. And yeah, she loves Adam, but he's just not quite there yet.
Yeah. And I touched on that. And the minute I told her that, she totally understood. I'm like, she's not your kid. I'm like, he's not your kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not your kid. You really, you grew up with this guy. You love this guy. You've bled for this guy, everything, but it's just like, he just doesn't get his shit together.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't get his shit together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I touched on that, and I did little things. I know what happens at the end of the story. You know what I'm saying? But all my actors are like, what's going to happen? I even Rob from mini comics. I tell him, I ain't telling nobody what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I know what's going on. I want to surprise everybody. And stuff like that and everything. It's a pretty cool story. And let me just run this by you. You being a Motu guy. So long story short, we all know Queen Marlena is from Earth.
Right.
My universe, in 2000X, is she from Earth also?
I think they mention it. I
think
don't
they
recall
mention it?
specifically, but I think it's part of that as well.
Was
I
that-
think there's a flashback sequence.
Okay, so blah 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 blah. Aliens land on Eternia. Skeletor figures out how they how aliens morph, whatever they
Hmm.
zap into, whatever.
They in fact, yeah.
Yeah, so they take over the Buzzoff's hive.
Cool.
So that's how now I called it the Andrenomorph.
Okay.
You
Love
know
it.
what I'm saying? And that's basically there's going to be a big swarm of that and a big epic battle at the end and hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. But there's a lot of stuff that happens in between and a lot of Easter eggs. And I've been working on, I got an 8-minute notice. And so I've been working on with some other YouTubers who do amazing work and everything. And it's just like the collaboration of all Motu fans is what I'm getting at. The collaboration of all these Motu fans, like they're all around the world. And it's just like from all different ages, from you know what I'm saying? It's like talking about your passion,
sure.
what your Motu means to you and you speaking to other people and everything. It's like, I appreciate it. I think it's cool. And it's not just a thing like, it's like, it's like, I'm like my wife is like, He-Man. But then when we released Motu Aliens, she saw, holy crap. So, wow, people like this stuff. I'm like, yo, this is huge. And the guy from Play Skeletor Knopf, he told me, he goes, George, India alone is 1.2 billion people. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff was huge here. And I never thought I only thought about South America because being half Latino also, I only thought about South America. But hey, I'm going to be running out of time. Anything you want to say? I'm glad to have, you're watching the 757 Hustle Show. We have Colt Crane with us from his YouTube channel, Dat At Arms. Head over there. There's a lot of real cool stuff. He does a lot of cool interviews. He's a real cool guy. Anything you want to promote about your channel coming up?
I think just the main thing I do is I try to get the real story about what's going on behind the scenes because we have way too many of these fake YouTube channels that just want to promote rage, and that's how they get their clicks. That's how they get their views. Like I
Hila
said,
has a dick. Click
exactly.
here.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, like I said, I'm a former journalist, and so following the sources, citing your sources, that's very important to me. And I just see the laziness that comes about it for a cheap click and a cheap view on YouTube. So that's why I started, I wanted to reach out to the creators themselves and ask, okay, what are you guys doing? What is this about? Let's hear it from the creators themselves.
And you know what? Thank you.
Somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about.
And we thank you. Sometimes that's all we need is just a simple conversation, a simple explanation. And that's all we need sometimes.
Exactly.
Hey, man, brother, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us and hanging out with me and being patient with me, setting everything up, man. Definitely like to get together again and chat a little bit more about Motu and everything else we have going on. And so once again, we're hanging out with Colt Crane from Dat At Arms. Real quick, what would be your Eternian name? Is it Dat At Arms or Newsar? I think we should call you Newsar.
Newsar, huh? I like Dat At Arms. I'm a dad. It's the best thing that I've ever done in my life is be a dad to two wonderful kids.
Awesome.
So I'm proud of that.
Very cool, man. Keep up the good work, man. You're a mad cool guy and you do a lot of good stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for
having me. All right, my brother. Be safe. You're watching the 757 Hustle. Check out Dat At Arms website you got a website, right? DatAtArms.com.
No website. I have a Instagram, Twitter.
Anyway, everything's gonna be posted right here. Everything's gonna be in the
Yeah.
description. Everything's gonna be all posted up and pretty pictures and all that stuff and everything. So, all right, my brother, I have the power. Until next time, right? That's what we say.
That's right. We'll see
Until
ya.
next time, or safe journey, or
Good journey.
good
That's the one I
journey,
hear.
right? They don't eat chicken on Eternia. What the fuck is that about? I
That's
don't
right.
know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, my brother, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Hey, it's Draco from the Feral Showgirls, and you're watching the 757 Hustle Show. Please be sure to give him a like and subscribe.